The concept of crossovers in gaming is absolutely nothing new to the industry. We've got games like Super Smash Bros, MultiVersus, Mortal Kombat vs DC Universe. It's very common in fighting games. And one such company that's known to capitalize on these crossovers is Disney, because if there's a buck to be made from crossovers, of course Disney's gonna go for it.
Hello, I like money.
In the last couple of years, we've had Disney Speedstorm, Disney Dreamlight Valley, we've had the mobile game The Magic Kingdom, so on and so forth. There's lots of Disney crossovers because there's lots of money to be made from putting these characters together. What we're going to look at today, however, are some of those entries that you may not remember just because they're so old, or perhaps because they flew under the radar a little bit. So don't expect to see the likes of Kingdom Hearts or Disney Dreamlight Valley here, because those are crossovers that everyone plays and everyone remembers. Now, before we go any further, if you enjoy movie tie-in games, Disney, nostalgia, throwbacks, any of that, this would be a really good time for you to subscribe. No, seriously, subscribe. And without further ado, our first game is Walt Disney World Quest Magical Racing Tour. This is a 2000s kart racing game developed by Crystal Dynamics, as in the Crystal Dynamics that developed Gex, some Tomb Raider games, and unfortunately the Avengers game from a few years ago. Ugh. Anyway, this isn't the biggest character crossover of all time, but its sheer concept alone makes it worth the entry in this video. The game centers around Chip and Dale and a bunch of new characters, but it also features Jiminy Cricket, so there's your character crossover. But the real kicker is that this is actually set in the Disney World Resort, and every single track is based off of a ride from those parks. So you've got Big Thunder Mountain, Blizzard Beach, Dinosaur, Rock and Roller Coaster, Haunted Mansion, Jungle Cruise, so on and so forth. All of your favourite rides from Disney are now racetracks for Chip and Dale to race around. This game launched on the original PlayStation, the Dreamcast, the Game Boy Color and Windows, and this was between March 2000 and January 2001. And this is one of those kart races that actually has a story. It's not much of a story, but it has one. The story sees Chip and Dale accidentally destroying the park's fireworks machine while gathering acorns, so now they drive around all these different tracks to collect firework machine parts to eventually restore the fireworks to the parks. Just so you can go and stand on Main Street and have some with a selfie stick stand in front of you so you can't see anything anyway.
You can't keep getting away with it!
Anyway, what I really like about this game is the soundtrack. They take most of the soundtracks that are actually used on the rides, excluding Rock and Roller Coaster because they couldn't get the Aerosmith license, and Dinosaur and Blizzard Beach, which for some reason use tracks from their other games, as in Gex. They use soundtracks from Gex, which is just a bit of an ick. But all the others have their iconic themes like Pirates and Haunted Mansion, and it's really fun racing around those tracks listening to some of your favourite ride songs. However, that's where my praises end, because for some ungodly reason the menu music for this game is the It's a Small World theme, just the instrumental, but that is enough to trigger anyone. And there is some absolutely ridiculous AI in this game that either really easy or just stupidly hard to beat, and for a PS1 era game, this game can be quite ugly at times. And that's saying something. However, in terms of karting and handling, it is a pretty fun kart racer. There are better kart racers out there, especially from this era. In fact, there's better Disney kart racers from this era out there. Go and play Muppets Race Mania, I'll talk about it again, it's a great game. In terms of reviews, on Metacritic it's actually only got one platform that has a Metascore, and that's the Dreamcast version, which has 65 out of 100, but the PlayStation version on Game Rankings has a 75%. So overall it's kind of middle ground, verging on good territory. For me, it's not the best kart racer I've ever played, but if you're a big fan of the Disney parks and Chip and Dale, this is definitely worth checking out. Oh, by the way, if there's any game I've done in this video that you want to see a full video on, rather than just in a compilation list, let me know, because I'd love to make some videos on some of the games I'm talking about here. Okay, so next up we have a newer and probably more well-known game. This is Disney Heroes Battle Mode, a crossover RPG mobile game on iOS and Android that launched in 2018. Now, this game actually takes place during the events of the second Wreck-It Ralph film, as this is when it came out. It's long since progressed past that, thank God, because I don't remember anything about that film. So I think it's just better to discuss the characters and franchises that are represented in this game, because it's absolutely insane. So we've got some of Disney's heavy hitters here, like Toy Story. You've got all your main Toy Story characters, including some from 4 like Duke Kaboom, which is pretty cool. Of course, you've got Big Hero 6, Zootopia, all their newer franchises. You've got some older ones like The Jungle Book, Alice in Wonderland, of course the Mickey franchise, you've got Hercules here, which is pretty cool, but there's also some niche ones. So we've got Kim Possible here, Atlantis the Lost Empire. The Emperor's New Groove is in this f***ing game, guys. What an absolute win.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
On top of that, you've got the Muppets, and not just like Kermit and Miss Piggy either. You've got like 8 characters here, including Sweetums, which I think is just fantastic. They've got A Bug's Life, Mulan, Hocus Pocus, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, The Princess and the Frog, Ratatouille, Robin Hood, Treasure Planet, Tron, The Goofy Movie. There's so much going on here, it's absolutely insane. Gargoyles and The Great Mouse Detective, just even more characters I thought I'd never ever discuss in a Disney crossover game, or really ever again. Phineas and Ferb are here as well. I mean, it's only Perry and Dr. Doofenshmirtz, but you know what? We'll take the representation, guys. We'll take the representation. We've even got the adorable Bolt in this game, and you know what? I just have to go and play this after I've made this video. I haven't actually played the game yet. I've just looked into this game, so I'm going to have to install this and play. I have no doubt this is probably very pay to win, but you know, it's fine. I love these characters, whatever. The gameplay itself just boils down to very simple turn-based combat, and that's absolutely fine. It's a mobile game, I wouldn't expect anything too deep. I just think it's very impressive that this game launched in 2018 and is somehow still going 6 years later and being updated. That's very unheard of for a lot of mobile games, because even some of these Disney ones launch, they last like a year or two and then just disappear. The game itself even has an official forum and Discord server where they put votes up for different franchises that people would like to see in the game. And I've just seen a vote here for characters from Gravity Falls, Fantasia, Meet the Robinsons. Guys, there's some real deep cuts going on here, and I'm absolutely here for it. If you don't hear from me from a couple of weeks, it's because I've sunk all that time into Disney Heroes Battle Mode. Sorry, everyone. Okay, so next up we are going back in time just a little bit to the Nintendo DS era. This is Disney Friends, a game developed by Amaze Entertainment and published by Disney Interactive Studios. We actually got this game here first in the UK and Europe in October 2007, with it coming to America in February 2008 and Japan in June 2008. This game is a kind of pet simulation, kind of minigame collection adventure game. It's a bit of a weird one. It's like a cross between Nintendogs and like Hey You Pikachu in the Pokemon channel. There are a few different worlds featuring some of your favourite characters, and you are able to befriend a character from that world, like Stitch from Lilo and Stitch, Dory from Nemo, Pooh from Winnie the Pooh, and Simba from The Lion King. And to be honest with you, this game literally just revolves around you hanging out with that character, doing some random shit. You interact with them on the touchscreen and using the DS microphone. And I'm going to be honest, I'm a proud owner of Disney Friends. I played this when I was like 7 years old when this came out, because I was still on that big Nintendogs hype, and the minute I saw Stitch on the cover, my mind was just like,
Oh yes. Oh yes.
for what appears to be a Nintendogs cash grab kind of game, it did have some kind of cool features. You could experience holidays like Christmas or Halloween by using the DS clock feature. It had a day-night cycle which affected the characters and the gameplay. And you could also go on the Nintendo Wi-Fi connection to connect with other players' worlds. And that service was available all the way up until the end of the Nintendo Wi-Fi connection back in 2014. So for like 7 whole years you could actually use that, which is pretty cool. This game is definitely aimed at young children. It has a 3+ rating, and the entire point of the game is supposed to teach players about responsibility and nurture and the importance of helping others. So unless you are an adult with a severe lack of social understanding, you should probably leave this game for the kids. Now, this game does not have enough Metacritic reviews to give it a proper Metascore, but it does have 3 reviews which are 70, 70, and 75, so it's like a 72-ish out of 100. Not terrible. Actually surprisingly good for what it is. I've seen a lot of mixed things about this game, but for some reason the Metascore seems a lot higher than that, so we'll take the win. However, the user score is only 5.8 out of 10, but let me just reiterate, no 3-year-old is going to play this game and go on Metacritic to give their user score, so this is definitely just a bunch of adults that have played this and didn't like it. Now, before I head into the final entry of my Disney crossover games list, I do have 2 honourable mentions. Now, there are 2 very different reasons as to why I've put them here, so let's go with the first one. Our first game I'm going to mention is Disney Infinity. Now, if you want a Disney crossover game where all the characters interact, this is quite literally the crossover game to have. Now, this game isn't exactly forgotten. It's not one that I see come up in conversation all the time, but it was a very big thing back when it came out in 2013. I had the first two. I never got 3.0 because I kind of moved on from it at that point. But the first two games to me were so peak. They're not exactly amazing by any stretch, but they were such good fun and I had such fond memories with it. But the reason I'm not putting it as an entry in this video is because Disney Infinity could be a whole essay long video itself. There's so much to break down with characters in the game, levels in the game, unreleased content. I've seen there were some Muppet figures. I don't even know if they ever made it into the game. But my point is there's so much to break down in Disney Infinity. You've got the Cars level, Lone Ranger, Toy Story, so on and so forth. There's so much there that it would definitely need its own video. So if you guys want to see a Disney Infinity video, please let me know in the comments down below. Or we can discuss it in my Discord server. Yes, that's a thing. I keep forgetting to plug it. It's in the description down below. Join it and we'll yap about cars and all sorts of stuff. And also, I release little teasers and share behind-the-scenes stuff. It's pretty fun. Anyway, my other honorable mention is LEGO The Incredibles. There are a couple of extra Disney characters you can unlock in that game through different challenges, and one of them is LEGO Lightning McQueen. And I just think that's so funny that that's in a Disney LEGO game. Just like, you have the Incredibles, a superhero team, all their superhero characters, and then there's just Lightning McQueen in his little LEGO form, and I just think that's the most fantastic thing. So those are my two shout-out honorable mentions for this video. If you want to see more on those games, again, let me know. And so for our final entry on this list, let me introduce you to Disney Magical World, a cozy-ish but also dungeon crawler life simulation game for the 3DS. This game was developed by Hand and Bandai Namco Games, and in Japan was published by Bandai Namco, and in the rest of the world was published by Nintendo. This game in Japan launched in August 2013, in North America it launched in April 2014, and here it did not launch until October 24th, 2014. And by here I mean Europe. You can either play as your Mii or an in-game avatar, and you are in the town of Castleton. There are various quests and mini-games to do, such as fishing, gardening, you make clothes, you can decorate cafes, you can collect cards, you can make food, and then there's of course dungeons as well. You have to clear out ghosts. The crossover comes from there being four main plot lines. There's one in the world of Cinderella, one in Alice in Wonderland, one in the 100 Acre Wood with Winnie the Pooh, and one in Agrabah with Aladdin. Now, this is a pretty cool game, but my issue with this is it kind of feels like there's no main gameplay style. It's just a bunch of mini games and small sections thrown together, and they kind of called it a day. The dungeon parts are cool, but they're very simple. They could be better. The RPG system is kind of half-arsed. There's a rhythm game in the Cinderella world, which could have done with a bit more fleshing out. It's all just very simple, I guess. It's just a bunch of random ideas thrown together that kind of work, but don't really have any reason for them being together in the first place. And again, the argument can be, I'm a grown-ass man, this game is not marketed towards me at all. We're certainly not talking on the Disney Friends level. You can enjoy this game as someone who is older, but again, this is definitely meant for kids. In terms of critical response though, this game actually didn't fare too badly. On Metacritic it sat at 71 out of 100, and it actually did go on to receive a sequel, aptly titled Disney Magical World 2, which released on 3DS as well, and also ended up getting a remaster on the Nintendo Switch a couple of years ago, so they must have sold pretty well to make it that far. Maybe I'll pick up Magical World 2 for the Switch, just to add to the collection. It might be worth playing, who knows. Anyway, that's all I've got time for today. Have you guys played any of these Disney crossover games? Are there other Disney crossover games you'd love to see me cover or want to talk about? As always, please let me know in the comments down below. Thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed this video and leave a like. And as always, I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.
Mickey, but you're 3 hours early.
You know, I'm just obsessed with you.